I am not happy. Hello, darkness, my old friend. You've come to talk with me again. Sens lose 4-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights. How are the young guys now? I finally did it! I scored again! Quit taking penalties! The Sens are gonna blow this game. Way to tie up the stick in front. Not. Well done. Just well done. You better believe we're gonna be having a penalty chat at the end of this one. What a time to be alive! What a long and brutal season that was. This team, man! So here we are on a Friday night. The weekend is here, and I gotta sit in this chair and talk about that garbage. So I've gotta waste my Thursday night watching it, and then Friday night talking about it. Oh, and to make matters worse, they got killed last night by a guy that's supposed to be wearing this jersey with a C on it. Oh no, but instead we get to say, hi, welcome home. Oh, thanks for killing our hockey team. See you next time. Last night's game can be summed up in 2 tweets. There's this one. This is embarrassing. The whole game has been in the Sens' end. They can barely hang on to the puck. They get it, and Vegas takes it right back. I sent that tweet halfway through the first period. Then we get to the third period, and I have to send this one. This is hard to watch. That about sums it up for me. Let's just get into lineup changes. Yesterday afternoon, the Sens announced they would be making 2 changes to their lineup. The first came in goal, where Andy would get the start after Marcus Hogberg started the last 3 in a row, and the other would come up front, where Scott Sabourin would draw into the lineup, and Rudolf Balcers would draw out. And for the first time, I think, all season, I had a major bone to pick with DJ Smith. Andy coming in place of Hogberg made a bit of sense, and I wasn't all that surprised or upset by that move, but the move up front really upset me. This tweet I sent out yesterday afternoon sums up my mood perfectly. Balcers better be going back to Belleville during the break then. This literally makes no sense. They want to play the young guys until they randomly decide they don't want to. Although, having said that, I'm cool with Andy starting. I think that sums it up perfectly. Why are the Sens starting Sabourin, a guy who's not likely to be there next season, over a young guy like Balcers, who they're trying to develop so that he will be there next season? And I get wanting to get Sabourin into some games, but there are a few vets on this team you could scratch instead. And if you want to scratch the young guys, just send them back to Belleville. Now, having said that, the hockey gods would at least sort of make it up to me, as Balcers would play in the end. But the way Balcers dressed for this game wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. Balcers came into the lineup because literally 5 minutes before the puck dropped, the Sens announced that Jean-Gabriel would not play last night as he was dealing with an upper body injury. So Balcers is in great, but Pajot is out, and that's, well, really bad. And it takes very little time to find out just how bad it is. Barely 30 seconds in, Vegas races in on a 2-on-1.5 or 2-ish sort of thing. Stastny feeds Stone. Stone goes back into the middle to Stastny. Stastny snipes one by Andy. And just like that, it's 1-0 Golden Knights. Ah yes, and in all my frustration, I almost forgot. Mark Stone makes his first visit to Ottawa since last February's trade, and barely 30 seconds into the game, he's already got his first assist. And let's do a little bit of redecorating for the rest of this video. Man, this stinks. Seeing Mark Stone in a Vegas Golden Knights jersey at the Canadian Tire Center was really difficult to see. And then to see him absolutely eviscerate the Sens was just awful. I loved Mark Stone as a Sen. The consistency, the defensive efforts, the takeaways, the goal celebrations. He was just incredible. My first memory of Mark Stone was at the World Juniors when he scored 4 times. But my first memory of Mark Stone as a Sen was one of my favorites. There were all kinds of memorable moments throughout the years. There was the overtime winner against Pittsburgh during the Hamburglar run. There was the insurance marker against Philly to clinch the Sens a playoff spot. But my personal favorite came during the 2012 NHL playoffs. The Sens were tied 2-2 with the New York Rangers in a playoff series the Sens had absolutely no business being in. They went back to New York for Game 5 of that series and surprisingly inserted a teenage Mark Stone into the lineup. Stone didn't play a ton that night, but made an unbelievable pass through the legs of Ryan McDonagh onto the stick of Jason Spezza. Spezza would beat Henrik Lundqvist to give the Sens a game-winning goal and give the Sens a 3-2 lead in that series. The Sens would go on to lose that series, but that play right there was the beginning of a terrific Ottawa Senators career for Stone. Unfortunately, that partnership had to end last February because the Sens have just awful ownership, and so now we have to watch Stone from afar. I love watching Stone as a Sen, and I'm really glad he's in the West because I'd hate to play against him all the time. He's a fantastic player, and I sure am going to miss him. And it took barely 30 seconds for Stone to show Sens fans what they were missing out on. What a terrific feed to Stastny. But you've got to give Stastny some credit for that goal. What an excellent snipe. From there, things continue to just get worse and worse for the Sens, as Vegas fires 17 shots at the Ottawa goal in the first period. They can't find the back of the net again, though, as Craig Anderson is real good throughout the period to give the Sens a 1-0 deficit heading into the second period. And let's be honest, they were really lucky to get to the second period down just a goal. And the second period starts and things go no better for the Sens, as Vegas fires 19 more shots at the Sens goal in the second period, and finally, on shot 17 with barely a minute left in the period, Mark Stone gets the puck in the Sens zone, wraps the puck around the goal, tucks it by the outstretched pad of Craig Anderson to give the Golden Knights a 2-0 lead. And there's that goal Selly Sens fans are used to seeing. And with the goal, Mark Stone has officially scored against every team in the NHL. And not even 2 periods in, Mark Stone now has a goal and 1 assist against his former team. Thankfully, Andy absolutely stands on his head through the entire second period, save for the Mark Stone shot, and we head to the third with Ottawa trailing just 2-0. And when I say just, I mean just. They were getting absolutely mollywopped by the Golden Knights. And that brings us to the third period. Not even 6 minutes into the third, the Sens get a power play, and Thomas Chabot has a brutal giveaway. He literally passes the puck to Chandler Stevenson. Stevenson races in all alone, beats Craig Anderson to give the Golden Knights a 3-0 lead thanks to a shorthanded goal. And the game is now over. Oh, but the Sens sort of make it close. No, Vegas just quit playing. That allowed Nemestikov to make it 3-1. Then Craig Anderson turned the puck over in his own zone. Ryan Reeves scored to make it 4-1. Then Connor Brown scores late to make it 4-2. And a quick shout out to Brown on game 300 of his NHL career. Not a bad accomplishment for a pretty young player. Having said that, that was the end of the goal scoring as the Golden Knights skate away with a 4-2 win. And in his first game as Golden Knights head coach, Peter DeBoer has his first win. Let's just get into good news, bad news. Craig Anderson was real solid last night, and that is the good news. Andy hasn't got a ton of ice time recently, partly because he hasn't been great when he's gotten the ice, and partly because the Sens are trying to see a young guy play. Well, he finally got back in the net last night after sitting for the last 3 games, and he looked really good. I mean, the 4th goal didn't look great, but part of that is his defenseman's fault. On the whole, though, you can't really blame him for very many of the goals. The defenseman did a poor job on the first goal, Mike Riley ran into him on the second goal, Chabot turned the puck over on the third goal. And in the end, Andy made 39 saves last night, and many of them were of the high quality variety. If the Sens are looking to move Andy before the deadline, not that I think they need to showcase him, but this game last night definitely didn't do anything to hurt his trade stock. The Sens are just a terrible hockey team, and that is the bad news. Andy was real solid last night, and that is the good news. Now, for the bad news. Listen, I love this team, and I love most of the players on this team, but they're just not talented enough to compete in the NHL right now. You look at the game last night, some of it was a lack of effort, some of it was some boneheaded plays, but a lot of it was just talent outworking talent. Or better yet, talent outworking a lack of talent. A lot of what last night came down to was one team had a lot of talent, and one team had, well, not a lot. There's a reason the Sens have lost 9 in a row. Some of it comes down to a lack of effort, but a lot of it comes down to the fact that they're just not as talented as the other team. Ottawa's just plain and simply not talented enough right now to compete with the best teams in the league, and that is the bad news. And speaking of which, Next up, the Sens return to action tomorrow afternoon when they welcome Matthew Tkachuk and the Calgary Flames to the Canadian Tire Centre. This contest will be the second and final meeting of the season between the two teams, with the Flames currently leading the head-to-head series 1-0, thanks to a 3-1 win in Calgary on November 30th. Oh, and to make matters even better than the Sens losing to Calgary in November, since Brady Tkachuk entered the league, Ottawa has never beaten Calgary. In fact, they've lost 6 of their last 7 to the Flames. In fact, the Sens haven't beaten Calgary on home ice in 4.5 years. And so far this season, it's been much the same, as the Sens sit second last in the NHL, while the Flames have been red hot since making a coaching change, climbing themselves up to 10th in the NHL standings. And of late, things aren't a lot different there either. The Sens have lost 9 in a row, while the Flames have won 6 of 7. So, yeah, this probably isn't gonna go well. That's it for this video. Hit like if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it with anybody you know, and today's question is, what did you think of the return of Mark Stone? Were you happy to see him back, or did it hurt to see him back in a different sweater? Let me know down below, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon when the Sens host the Calgary Flames. Man, I miss Stone in a Sens uniform.